Oh, there we go. All right, we are streaming live. Where is everybody? Raise your hand if you guys want to talk. I'm waiting for Static and Frederick to come in here. Kevin Brew, what's up? You can unmute your mic if you want, or not. There you go. Can you hear me? Yeah, your mic is really, really bad. Hmm? JDM Project, what's up? Static, there we go. All right, whatever. So I guess we'll just start. I'm just gonna talk for a little bit about some random things. I wanted to talk about Kyle Rittenhouse because everybody seems to have the wrong opinion on this except for me. So Kyle Rittenhouse, obviously, what he did was awesome, and he killed two Antifa people, and they both happened to be Jewish pedophiles, ironically. But like ever since then, he's been going on like this media tour where he's just cucking to everything gay. Like he said, "Oh, I just want to go on with my life. I just want to, be with my family and go to school. I'm not a political person, all this stuff." And then he goes on Tucker Carlson and he's supporting BLM, which was just a slap in the face to everybody who was supporting him for the last year, right? These people want him dead. And then he goes to meet Trump and Charlie Kirk, and then he goes on News Nation or whatever it's called, and he says that he disavows the idea of election fraud and stuff. And everybody's talking about this like, "Oh, well, he's just a kid and he doesn't know any better," and all of this stuff. And it's like, well, he's obviously mature enough to take a gun and defend his community and kill two pedophiles, and he can't be responsible for his political opinions. And don't get me wrong, I get that like his lawyers or like his parents are probably telling him to do this, but it is so gay and pointless. And we can separate like, okay, this is a good thing that he did where he defended a community, and it sets a great precedent that he was found not guilty. And in the future, if people defend their property, maybe they'll take they'll be more inspired to do that instead of like cowering or whatever. But we could also separate that from him being kind of cucky and endorsing BLM and all this other stuff, especially when he specifically said that he's not going to be political. And it's just like it, if they think that this is going to like make people like him better and not hate him and not want him dead anymore, it's retarded, because these people don't care if he's actually a white supremacist, if he's actually a racist, which we know that he's not. They just hate him because of what the media has told them about it. They don't, nothing that he says or does is going to change their mind. They hate him, they want him dead because he's white, because of what the media said, and it's just ridiculous. And a lot of people were saying, "Oh, well, it could be because of his defamation lawsuit. It could be because he's trying to get the bag and get the money and stuff like that." I'm pretty sure that's not how defamation works. I'm pretty sure the defamation has already been done and he already has a lawsuit in the bag without having to go on like a media press tour and like cuck to all these stupid things. So I just think the whole thing is really gay and really pointless. And I don't know. I just it's really disappointing. And don't get me wrong, I don't think that we should like idolize him as like a political figure. And apparently this should have been expected because he was like a Yank supporter, unironically, not like a ironic Yank supporter. He was like a legit Yank supporter, and he's like more libertarian or whatever. But it's just like these people have been calling for your death for the last year, and the people who were supporting you were people who were against Black Lives Matter. And the first thing you do when you get acquitted is go on Tucker Carlson and say, "You know what? Well, I support the BLM music movement. I think there's a lot of injustices and all this stuff." It is just so disgusting and cringe and very like it's a letdown. And then he goes and meets with Charlie Kirk, which is just horrible. But don't get me wrong, I'm sure if I was in his position and I wasn't, maybe he's not as politically aware or something like that, and he's just like kind of normie or whatever, but like and he probably got his whole trip paid for and he got to meet Donald Trump and stuff, which is cool. But I see no logical reason why he would have to endorse BLM and then disavow election fraud. It makes no sense to me. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about was Seth Rogen and this new Santa Inc. television series that he has, which is just par for the course. Like it's as expected. He basically made this new cartoon about Santa Claus where Santa Claus is thinking about retiring, and they hate that Santa Claus is a white man and that it's time for a new beginning, and like this girl elf wants to be the next Santa Claus or something like that, and it's completely perverted and has a bunch of profanity and is just disgusting and stuff like that. And Am I entirely kicked off of IG? No, I'm on at Spexo underscore underscore, but my Spexo AF that had like over 6,600 followers got deleted and banned. So now I'm on this other one, but I'm really just on like Telegram because like I just keep getting banned off of everything else. Oh, all right. What was I talking about? Oh yeah. So he's making the show, which is just a complete perversion of Christmas and mocking Christians' traditions and stuff like that. And so they put this trailer out for the show on HBO Max, and all of the comments become anti-Semitic jokes, right? Which what do you expect? Like you can make fun of Christianity and the traditions and stuff like that, but like when somebody starts making fun of Jews, then that's not okay. All right, and everybody gets so mad, and like there was like thousands of comments of like anti-Semitic jokes, but replacing Jews with elves. Right, it was pretty funny, and so it got so bad that HBO had to turn off all of the comments in on the video. So then Seth Rogen puts out a tweet, which was like a total mask off moment. He put out a tweet that said. The response to Santa Inc.'s trailer shows why we need diversity. Angry white men need to learn that their time is up. And it's just saying that, okay, basically you want to use diversity against white men, and your sole goal basically is to like piss off white guys or whatever and make them learn that they need to learn their place and that their time is up. And it just shows too that it is implicitly associating Christianity with whiteness, right? They hate white people because they look at them as oppressors and historic whatever, and they hate Christianity because it's patriarchal and hierarchical and stuff, and it's associated with European civilization. So this whole thing is just so like ridiculous. Like what if Christians made a cartoon about Hanukkah or some Jewish holiday or whatever, and we made the whole thing surrounding like, I don't know, these Jews who want to use Hanukkah to promote refugee intake in Israel or something like that. Like I don't think that they would be too happy about that, you know. So it's just ridiculous. They mock and like pervert our traditions and things that we find holy and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, you know, there's been stuff with Santa Claus before and stuff like that, but it's these two Jewish people who, whether they're secular or religious, they don't believe in the divinity of Christ, and they're purposely putting out this cartoon with Santa Claus and making it a Christmas themed show, and they're using it to push an agenda for global homo and anti-Christian sentiment, right? It's just absolutely ridiculous. What is this? Wipe Dallas. Okay. I don't know how to turn off the sound on Telegram, so that's pretty annoying. Actually, I'm gonna mute this. Hold on. Yeah. So I don't know. I think that that it's making it. I think it's waking a lot of people up. I think that like as they become more and more overt with this, because ever since Trump, like they've just become overtly anti-Christian, anti-white, all this stuff, and now like it's just you can't even deny it anymore. And now it's becoming so mainstream, which is what I want to talk about next. But like before Trump, we knew that like celebrities were like pedophiles and Satanists and hated conservatives, and they were super liberal and they were the liberal elite and all this stuff. But as soon as Trump happened, he inadvertently exposed them for how hateful and disgusting they are, where like now they're just basically openly calling for the genocide of white people and Christians, right? So, I mean, that's a good thing, because now as they continue to expose themselves, like you look at any late night TV show, like Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert and stuff like that, it's not comedy anymore. Comedy has been replaced with global homo propaganda. Jimmy Kimmel, for the whole entire 4 years that Trump was in office, was just nothing but anti-Trump propaganda. It's absolutely ridiculous. Edward Moore says Seth Rogen hasn't been funny since Pineapple Express, and even then it had more to do with the writing. Yeah, I used to love Seth Rogen. Like Superbad is still one of my favorite comedy movies, and like I don't know what happened to this guy. He hasn't put out anything good in like 8 years probably. I can't even remember the last movie that he put out was good. He had like a string of relatively good movies with The 40-Year-Old Virgin, Superbad, Pineapple Express. What else? I can't even remember. That might be it. Knocked Up, right? And then all of a sudden now he's just I don't know. He's just a loser. I mean, he was a good writer, I guess, him and his partner or whatever, Ethan something. But now he's just totally exposed himself as just like a white-hating, anti-Christian blasphemer, basically. And, you know, you have these people who are explicitly anti-Christian putting out Christmas shows. And they were, I was watching the trailer for Santa Inc. or something, and the whole thing was like promoting vaccinations and talking to saying that there's more people that believe in Santa Claus than the Holocaust and stuff like that. It's just a total like agenda, and like you can't escape it no matter where you go. Jimmy Fallon was never funny. Yeah, Jimmy Fallon was more like I don't know, like he was a little bit talented, I guess. He was good at singing and stuff. I never found him funny. What I did find funny was when he was on SNL and he would always break character. That's the only time I think he's ever made me laugh. But yeah, Jimmy Fallon just seemed like a nice guy, and he seemed like the only one that was taking a more nuanced position in regards to Trump. Because when he did the interview with Trump on the late night show or whatever show he runs, he was like playing with his hair and stuff, and he was really nice. And then he got mad pushback because of that from all of his celebrity friends, and then he just completely became like an anti-Trump person and stuff. And it just shows that you have to toe the establishment line for everything if you want to make it at all in Hollywood, in that arena. You know what I'm saying? Like if you want that profession, you cannot go outside of the establishment lines. But what I was going to say was that like everybody now is explicitly talking about anti-white hatred, right? Like Tucker Carlson has been talking about it. He's been talking about replacement migration and all of these other things where he's being labeled a hateful conspiracy theorist and a white supremacist by the ADL and all of this stuff. And now you see Ron DeSantis the other day, because he was talking about the massacre in, I don't know how to pronounce it, Waukesha, where the black guy mowed down like 50 white people at a Christmas parade, and it was obviously a terrorist attack. It was a anti-white terrorist attack. That's what it was. And I should have asked, where are we? That wasn't bad. Okay. It was an anti-white terrorist attack, and all of the mainstream news outlets are saying, oh, a car drove into a crowd, like it's a sentient vehicle, like the car just decided by itself that, oh, I'm going to go into a Christmas parade and just target all of these people. And it's absolutely ridiculous. And the way that they worded every single article was trying to make it so that you wouldn't ask what the motivation was behind this massacre, right? And then they tried to say that, oh, he was running away from another crime, which excuses him to crash through a barricade and run over like 50 different people, and he killed like, I think 8 people died, maybe. I don't know what the number is now, including children, right? And they try to push this under the rug. How do I mute this, yo? How do I mute this? Hold on a second. I gotta try and mute this because it's just gonna keep making noise. All right. So anyway, so what I was going to say, so now Ron DeSantis went on TV the other day, and he was talking about how the Waukesha massacre was anti-white, which of course it was. Like the guy who did it was basically like a black Israelite. He was like a 5%er or something. He had memes all over his Facebook, talking about putting whites in slavery and getting revenge on all this stuff. And he had he made like a fruit platter out of watermelon supporting Black Lives Matter, right? And he was a rapper who, like, I don't know, made these violent videos holding guns and stuff. It's really shocking that he would commit any type of crime. But he was a total, like, leftist, pro-Antifa, anti-white type of person. And this was clearly in retaliation because of the Kyle Rittenhouse acquittal. And nobody wants to say that, obviously. They just want to push it under the rug and memory hole it. But that's exactly what it was. So it was cool to see Ron DeSantis and these other people talk about it, that, like, this is, like, explicitly anti-white. Because before Donald Trump, right? Donald Trump mentioned white people as a group one time in an interview where they said something along like, oh, what do you think about these black people being attacked by whatever, or no, black people dying from this, and Trump was like, white people die way more than black people or whatever, and everybody was like, oh, he mentioned white people, he acknowledged that we exist. And the last time that a president acknowledged that white people were a group was in 1994 from Bill Clinton, I think, right? So that's how long it took from 1994 to 2020 or 19 or whatever it was for a president to even acknowledge that white people were a group. You hear about white supremacists and white nationalist terrorists and all this stuff or whatever, but to acknowledge that white people are like an actual group, right? And instead of pretending that they don't exist, instead of saying like dog whistles of like, oh, the founding stock and all this stuff in the middle class America or whatever, like he actually legitimately said white people. So that happened, and then now Ron DeSantis is talking about anti-white hatred, and it's become so clear that they now need to. But I think that the only reason that these people are even saying anti-white as as a thing that exists, anti-white hatred, is because of Nick Fuentes. I think it started with the Groyper Wars. I think when he started asking Charlie Kirk these questions and started exposing this, because this was a big thing. Like, people don't think it was that big of a deal. This changed Charlie Kirk, who has the #1 conservative platform in America. this changed his whole platform on immigration. Now he's talking about demographics and all this stuff. Don't get me wrong, he's still a fag and a cuck and all that stuff, and he should be in a forced labor camp probably. But he has changed his whole entire platform specifically because of Nick Fuentes. And I think that obviously Tucker Carlson knows about Nick Fuentes and knows about all this stuff because his rhetoric has developed and evolved and changed to align more with Nick Fuentes over the last like 2 years or so, right? And I think that event of Nick Fuentes doing the Groyper Wars and asking Charlie Kirk these questions and stuff like that has pushed the Overton window in our favor, where people are no longer afraid to talk about this stuff. And don't get me wrong, I think that there's probably like layers of this of why, because just anti-whiteness has just become so blatantly obvious that it's kind of hard to even deny it or whatever. But I do think that Nick Fuentes played a giant role in this. So I'm going to open the chat now and see if you guys want to talk or ask questions or whatever. I'm in, if you want to go to my Telegram, if you're watching on YouTube, my Telegram, what's up, Aiden? If you want to talk, if you want to go on my Telegram, you could join the chat or whatever and ask any questions if you want. Just raise your hand if you want to talk or not. If not, I'll just read some of the chat messages or whatever. I was going to play some games. I don't know. Hold on, let me see. What do I think of Catboy? Not a fan. He's not America First. He's not Christian. I don't support the degenerate stuff that he does. So is Pray and Prepare over or what? I don't know. I haven't done an episode in like, I don't know, 6 months because the last 2 that I did got strikes on my YouTube channel. They both got banned because I was talking about the vaccine and stuff, and it said that I was promoting scientific misinformation or something. So I just been doing like regular edited videos or whatever. I might do one again. I don't know. Groyper Wars changed the whole game. They really did. They totally pushed the the Overton window. Hold on. Join. All right, hold on. Really, nobody wants to talk? Muscle Marinaras, I'm going to allow you to speak. I'm just going to allow everyone to speak and see who talks. Oh, Grayson, yo. What's up, Grayson? You there?
You're unmuting me.
I did. I unmuted you.
Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah, we hear you.
All right.
Cool. What up?
Yeah, that guy in the chat that we're talking about, total faggot.
Who?
I won't say his name.
Wait, in my chat?
Yeah, in the group chat. You just told us all to join the chat, and we were talking about this guy earlier.
I'm not sure who you're talking about, but all right.
It's that Jewish guy from New York who's always hating on AF.
Jewish guy from New York who is always hating on AF. You don't want to say his name?
No, I heard him a while ago, and I was like, "You're done." It's always posting crap about Nick or Baked Alaska on his channel, and I'm like, it's one thing to criticize these guys when they do something they're not supposed to, but it's another thing to have a channel where it's completely devoted just hating on these people when they're actually good people.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, I don't know who I guess you could tell me later. I don't know who you're really talking about, but yeah, whatever. I support AF. I don't really like to get involved in any drama. But yeah, let's see what's going on. Spexo, did you squash the beef with Beardson? I never really had a beef with Beardson. I think he had misinformation about me and he just went along with it or whatever, but I'm in a group chat with him. We don't really talk or anything like that, but I have no problem with him. I don't know what he thinks of me. It's fine. Will you ever grow your beard out super long again? I don't know. Probably not. I'm actually, now that I'm like relatively skinny and I don't look like a total morbidly obese person without the beard, I kind of am liking this without the beard right now, but we'll see. I might do it again. Frederick. Let's see if we can get Frederick in here. But yeah, Grayson, what's been going on with you? What are your plans lately?
Well, are we live streaming?
Yeah, I'm live. I'm on YouTube, and we're doing a live stream on Telegram.
Savage. Well, yesterday I went with the American Populist Union to do an interview with Wendy Rogers, and that was pretty awesome, actually.
Wait, you did what with Wendy Rogers?
It was an interview for the American Populist Union, the APU.
What? You talked with Wendy Rogers?
Yeah, yeah. So
Wow.
it was a great interview. I think I could do a better interview, so I'm going to talk with her about doing one for Pure Politics. And after the interview, she hung out for a really long time, just chatted with us.
Really.
Wendy Rogers, on a personal level, when I met her, she is a really strong fighter. She is going to stand up for election integrity no matter what.
Hmm.
So I back her pretty strongly now.
I mean, besides her being a woman, which is gross, she's been saying a
Yeah,
lot of the right things. Like she's been talking about election fraud for like however long now, almost a year, and she's not backing down on it. She says all the right things about Christianity and America first and stuff. So, I mean, that's awesome, you know.
yeah, and it's real too. It's she's not putting on a persona. When I met her, okay, if she's playing a part, if she's making it up, she's doing it really well because she was very genuine when we met,
Hmm.
and what she talks about online is entirely true. It's not an exaggeration or a personality she's putting on.
Hmm.
It's actually her. So I really like her. She's an awesome lady.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what is she? What is her position?
She's Republican. She said, "Don't say you're right wing. Say you're unapologetically conservative." So
Based.
she's pretty much on our team. She's very aligned with Representative Paul Gosar,
That's good. And she
and
explicitly put on Twitter to take Nick Fuentes off of the no fly list, which was really cool.
yeah, yeah. We didn't get any Nick questions or America First questions in. The APU had they had different questions they wanted to ask, and that's totally fine for them. But if she comes on with pure politics, I'm definitely going to be asking about Nick Fuentes, his place in the Republican Party, and how going forward we can stop more of our great conservatives from being on no-fly lists
Hmm.
or being politically persecuted in general.
Hmm. And
So I'd focus on that if she comes on.
mhm. Yeah, no, I mean, whatever. Anybody that's basically on our side, anybody who's willing to talk about Nick Fuentes, because he seems to be like everybody's afraid to even mention him by name. Even Tucker Carlson, when he was talking about putting people on the no-fly list, he wouldn't say his name like explicitly.
Yeah,
You know, like I don't. It's like it's taboo to even talk about Nick Fuentes. It's ridiculous. You know, but the fact that Wendy Rogers and especially Paul Gosar is definitely our guy. You know, but oh, I was going to ask you. There was like some controversy in my chat with people saying that you weren't America First, and then you said you were. Why were people saying that?
oh yeah, I get followed around by a couple of these anon groypers. I'll point out the names. I didn't notice it was the same people in the beginning, but now that they kind of follow me around different chats, it's the same people. But there was some controversy around the White Boy Summer Party and the planning and the way it was done. Ultimately, I had a great time at the party. The people who came had a great time. It was fun, and I learned a lot about organization and how to present an event. So
Hmm.
that's basically it. All stems from the White Boy Summer planning.
Hmm. But you are clear the air. You are
100%.
unofficially
Yeah.
America First, Nick Fuentes supporter.
I officially support America First. I love Nicholas Fuentes. I think he could be a great politician eventually if he wants to do that, or a great media
Based.
presenter like Tucker Carlson. He kind of has a couple paths he could take. And
Hmm.
just because I posted something about the Beardson controversy, because people were all it was a big hot subject. Just because I posted something about Beardson doesn't mean I'm anti-AF or anything like that. I think that it's okay to talk about Beardson because he made it explicitly that he's not a Groiper general. So I mean, there's a lot of complications and drama surrounding all that, but I don't think pointing out Beardson is anti-Nick or anti-AF, and I don't do it excessively. I think Beardson, for the most part, was like, I should not do IRL trolling where I get boomer women on video to put me down because that was really bad optics. So
Oh, okay.
at the end of that rant, I'm pro AF. I love Nick Fuentes, and I very rarely put out any criticisms like that. So that was an anomaly if people scroll back and look at it.
Hmm. All right. And yet you said you had other people that like can post on your channel, right?
Yeah, I have a crew of admins. We've been working the Telegram ecosystem since before the Great Parlor Purge. So if anybody was on Telegram before the Parlor Purge, you know what the ecosystem is like. But I've had admins, and we run the channel together, so we get a bunch of different viewpoints.
Nice. All right. Um, Somebody said, "What do I think of APU?" I don't like that they basically, I don't know, they're basically America First without any of like the explicit edginess. They don't talk about like anything about race issues or anything like that. And they're the paleo cons, but they're just like, I don't know. And they a lot of them have disavowed America First and Nick Fuentes and stuff. And it's like they're trying to take the rhetoric and like the talking points of Nick Fuentes and all that stuff, but just make it less cool, less funny, and just I don't know. I don't see it being successful. I don't know. I really like John Doyle. I don't know why he was with those. I don't know if he's like explicitly with those people. You said you were talking to with APU people when you talked to Wendy Rogers, right?
Yeah, those are the guys in the pictures with me. They're both part of the APU.
And what is their deal? Why are what are they trying to do?
Well, I
I
think
didn't
the
hold on. Somebody's
APU
saying I didn't
is
say they all disavowed Nick. I said there's people in with APU that have disavowed Nick and they won't say like endorse Nick or say anything good about Nick. I didn't say that they disavowed Nick as a group. But go on, what'd you say?
yeah. I feel I might be completely wrong on this, but I don't know much about the APU. But I feel like it's a bridge between America First and the TPUSA parties,
Hmm.
just because they seem in the middle politically between those two groups.
And I don't really know. I just saw that they did like some conference that was just did not look very good. It looked like it was very cheaply put together. I'm not saying anything bad. Look, if you're America First and you're talking about all the right things or whatever, and that's good, that's awesome or whatever. I just don't like people, and I could be wrong about this. I just don't like people that try to form an organization and they're clearly adopting rhetoric from people who have already been saying this, but then they won't associate with that person. I don't know, you know.
Yeah, I okay. I can only speak to my personal experiences, just because, like I said, I don't know much about the APU beyond my personal friends in it.
Hmm.
Everybody that I've met so far, this is me, has been a strong supporter of America First and Nicholas Fuentes, and they are not. Nobody's disavowed him that I know of.
Okay.
But like I said, I only met the APU just recently, so this is my personal experience with people in it.
Hmm. All right. Sounds good. And what have you have any other things planned about with political activism that you're doing?
You will. There's the Wendy Rogers thing. I'm gonna make that happen. We're gonna get an interview. People love the America First Nick Fuentes questions,
Hmm.
and I think coming up, I'm basically what there's CPAC. So, I mean, other than the big stuff, nothing
Nice.
interesting.
All right, so I unmuted Wipe Dallas, Based by Racial, Frederick, and I think that's it. I think Susan was in here. Susan, yo, are you there? Susan, unmute your mic if you want to. No? All right. Well, Susan was the based Gen Z mom that I met at the rallies, and she was there with her son, and she knew me from Instagram, and we ended up like driving her to the next rally, and we got five guys and stuff. It was really cool. She's really nice. Uh,
Hi, how are
hey,
you?
what up? How are you? Good to hear from you.
I'm I'm good. I'm good. I'm listening to you while I'm preparing dinner. So yeah, how are
Based,
you?
based mom doing her job. I'm good. Uh, that was awesome. What'd you think of the rally? That was great, right?
It was great. Oh my God, it was amazing. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's
Yes.
awesome. It was great to meet you and your son, and you guys are really great people. And hopefully, I'll see you guys again.
Awesome. Thank you. Take care.
All right, you too. See you later. Bye. All right. Who else? Frederick, are you there? Based by Racial.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
What up?
Hello?
Hey, Based by Racial. What up?
Hey, nothing much, nothing much. I'm driving home from work right now. Just been really busy over here,
Hmm.
trying to keep up with work and campaigning and all that stuff. So it keeps me busy.
Hmm. Oh, that's awesome. And you want to tell people what you do with the 1776 thing?
Yeah, sure. So 76 Fest is a like a conservative retreat kind of
Hmm.
organization where we find other America First type people and they come in to speak at our events and you can network with other people who are based and who are in the same kind of sphere of the movement and it's a lot of fun. Our next event is going to be in Arizona after AFPAC. I think it's going to be like the second weekend in
Hmm.
March. I think it's the 18th through the 20th.
Nice. So you just
But
do
for
like
the
gatherings, basically, right? And like for people to like I don't know, talk with each other and like gain a community about people with like-minded interests. I guess is that what you guys do?
exactly. So at 76 Us, we also have people that come in to speak about various different things.
Hmm.
At our first event, I spoke about getting involved in local politics, which is kind of like my niche, like what I'm kind of doing on the ground.
Hmm.
So people can take away a lot of stuff to bring back home with them to organize and do their own activism.
Hmm.
But it's more of like a kind of like a laid back kind of like retreat kind of thing. So
Nice.
it's funny. TPU USA is trying to do the same thing right now with America Fest or whatever. But yeah,
That's awesome. And I saw you on the Stu Peters show. That was awesome. How'd you did you reach out to him or he reached out to you?
So actually, Lauren Witzke is a good friend of mine. She's
Oh, nice.
like one of my best friends.
She's awesome, yeah.
Yeah, and she works for Sue, and she was like, "Hey, you know, if you want, you can come on and talk about what it was like, and you know, being called a white supremacist essentially by Fox." I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?"
Hmm.
So
Yeah, that's really cool.
yeah, so that was fun.
Yeah, I'm surprised, and I'm surprised like more people aren't like speaking out about that. Like that I can't believe Fox News put out that like that hit piece. It just shows that Fox News is such like an enemy to the people. They're just such controlled opposition.
Yeah.
It's so gay.
Yeah, and it's so crazy because years ago, when I was like first coming up or whatever, I was on Fox, and not, you know, obviously I didn't have like my own thing going on, but like I was on there through like campus reform or something,
Hmm.
and I was talking about something that was happening at my college where like you had to take this like white supremacy course, or
What?
you weren't able to. Right, it was like this. It was this course where like you
Wait,
have to
it teaches you how to be a
identify.
white supremacist, or?
No, like you have to learn how to identify white supremacy and how it escalates. So like there's this pyramid, and at the bottom of the pyramid is like making racist jokes, and at the top of the pyramid is like genocide of people.
Oh, that's awesome. That's what we need more of.
Right.
That's great.
Right, exactly.
Hmm.
And I was recalling a story that had happened on my college campus where these two black kids faked a hate crime.
Nice.
And I was like, you know, I can only imagine that if these two were white kids doing it and they like cut me off.
Hmm.
They cut me off after that. And they're like, oh, okay, thanks. Thanks for coming on. Great.
Hmm.
But yeah, like that kind of sentiment was going on like back then.
Hmm.
So like it's crazy now to kind of see it all like, you know, now they're coming out with whole hit pieces about like America First and everything, and like, you know, it's nuts.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So I always ask this every time I meet a black person that supports America First. I always ask them like, how did you start liking America First? Because anytime that you like Google America First or you hear about it in the mainstream media or whatever, it's neo-Nazi white supremacists and stuff like that. So how were you able to like break through that and like see it for what it was? You know.
So it's actually it's funny because I'm biracial, so like in a lot of like me moving through politics, like black kids were like, oh well, you can't advocate for anything that we do because you know you're half white, but like white people have always been like very like open and accepting and like encouraging of me being in politics and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to America First, I was actually I had first discovered AF and Nick and everything like right in the beginning of Groyper Wars.
Mm-hmm.
So at the time I was living in Iowa because I was working for the Trump campaign.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, I had only stayed on the campaign for like a month because it was ridiculous. Like I got to really see how the RNC operated, and it just totally turned me off. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to contribute to this. Like I'll help Trump in my own way or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't want to contribute to this. So then I had just freshly been off the campaign, and I knew somebody who went to the University of Iowa, and Charlie Kirk was doing a speaking tour at U of I, and they were like, if you want, you can come and volunteer at this thing. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, why not? So I volunteered to go to Charlie's like culture war speaking tour or whatever, and then I got to see in real time like people ask Charlie about like demographics and stuff like that, you know. And
Oh, you were there? You were there when they were asking the questions?
yeah, I was there when they were asking questions. I don't know if that particular one was like live streamed, but there were Groypers in line, like people I didn't know were Groypers at the time, but like there were Groypers in line asking these questions. And I was like, man, like I've been hearing like all of this makes sense to me because what initially got me into politics was the whole immigration demographics thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I live in Maryland and like immigration is like terrible here, so and that has like affected like everything over here and me and my family too. So
Hmm.
So with that whole issue, like demographics and immigration, like that already kind of set me apart from like the mainstream, right? So when I was hearing this stuff like reiterated, I was like, yeah, like this is the stuff that like makes sense to me. And I had heard Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro talk about Nick Fuentes. I'm like, well, this like everybody kept talking him up, and I was like, well, who is this guy? Like, so I went and watched America First and everything. I was like, I don't know, like this is all stuff that I believe in. Like this all makes sense to me.
I think that was really like that. Like I was saying before, I think that really was the turning point that brought Nick Fuentes into the mainstream, and in turn pushed the Overton window. Because like I was saying, like now you hear people saying all this stuff against anti-white hatred when that was never happening before. Not to mention that he
If
completely.
only Spexo,
Yo.
she should have got if only she got a recording of like Ben Shapiro like wringing his hands. This Nick Fuentes is cutting into our margins. Like that would have been awesome.
Yo, Ben Shapiro is just the worst, bro. Like I was watching that when Nick Fuentes confronted him or whatever, and everybody was like, "Oh, how could he do that and confront him in front of his family?" First of all, it wasn't even planned. It just happened. Like he just saw him or whatever, and he wouldn't let Nick Fuentes come and explain, but instead he did a 45-minute speech about him. Without even mentioning his name and calling him a Nazi and a Holocaust denier and all this stuff. And then somebody went to a Ben Shapiro thing and they asked him, why won't you debate Nick Fuentes if you're going to talk all this stuff about him or whatever? And then he uploaded that video. Ben Shapiro uploaded this video and said, alt-right neo-Nazi defends Nick Fuentes. Like it's so...
Right, like Ben Shapiro is a grown man, bro. Like,
well, I mean, not going by height. Not going by height.
Is I don't know if you remember the interview that he was doing where he's like, I don't give a damn about the browning of America, okay? You see, my wife's from Africa, all right? I don't give a damn about the browning of America. Like, he married the whitest African I've ever fucking seen in my life.
Wait, Ben Shapiro's wife? Wait, Ben Shapiro's wife is African? Like what, South African? She's not Jewish?
No, she's I think she's from like the Middle East, like from the Middle East somewhere.
She
but
like a Sephardic, she like Sephardic Jew or something.
I don't know what she is. All I know is I remember him talking about him not giving a damn about the browning of America and using his African wife as an example. So I'm like, oh, he married a black chick. No, he married a white chick from Africa.
Something tells me that he would care.
Forgetting an important thing about Ben Shapiro's wife is that she's also a doctor.
Yeah, she is a doctor. If you know that, she's definitely a doctor.
She's a shitty doctor. By the way, I work in like the physician world, and you always know a shitty doctor. Number one, if they're working in a hospital and not an individual practice, and number two, the fact that she doesn't know billing allowables is pathetic. Like he always goes off about like my wife doesn't even know how much her services charge, and it's like, well, if she ran her own practice, she would know exactly how much like every allowable is because it's important. But when you're paid by like a hospital, it doesn't matter to you.
Right. And I guarantee that Ben Shapiro probably cares about the browning of Israel or any of the policies that he doesn't want here. He definitely cares about them in Israel. Like, and what did he talk about in that article where he said that I forgot the word, but it was transfer or something like that. Like where he wanted to transfer the Arabs out of Israel. He said transfer is not a dirty word or something, and he basically advocated for like ethnic cleansing of Israel.
Of course.
Yeah, it's just it's so hypocritical.
Like, it's just, do you ever think that we're ever going to, like, divorce our, like, political, like, the way that we do politics from Israel? Because it's looking pretty bad out here, man.
No, I don't see it because the Israel lobby has so much control over both parties, and just because, and they even admit it. You can't say that or you're anti-Semitic, but they even put out ads saying we've been bipartisan for 50 years or whatever the case is, and then you wonder why. Why is Israel the only bipartisan policy that the Democrats and Republicans believe in? And it's because the Israel lobby.
Like, no other country, right? Like literally, no other country has that kind of lobbying power over us. No other country has that. And when you bring that up to people, they're like, "Yeah, well, it's not because they're Jewish or whatever." I'm like, but just the fact that it's like Israel is a Jewish country. Like, hello, like we're just asking you to follow like natural conclusions here.
Right. It's so dumb, and it's just and this whole thing with China, that like, oh, China is our biggest adversary and our rival and stuff like that, and it's like, yeah, China is an adversary or whatever, but there's really no need to be because we could have like a mutually beneficial trade deal or whatever. Not to mention their censorship laws are awesome, and but you could criticize China in public. The Trump was criticizing China for 4 years. You can go out and say I hate China and all this stuff. You can't say anything about Israel without being labeled anti-Semitic and ruining your life basically. So who really has more control? People that you can criticize or people that you can? It's so stupid.
Exactly.
The elves control.
The elves, yes. We were talking about that. Oh, and that was another thing that I wanted to say before. Like these people that say like, "Oh, I'm a free speech advocate," I believe in all free speech and let the ideas win. I don't actually. I don't believe in I don't believe in free speech. I believe in free speech for the immediate like time being because it's a means to an end, and we need free speech because the people in power hate us and they're the ones censoring us or whatever. But I don't believe in free speech as a principle altogether.
I believe in free speech if you deserve it.
No, I believe in free speech to the extent where it's not promoting degeneracy or blaspheming Christ or anything like that. If you're promoting homosexuality and promiscuity and abortion, stuff like that, I don't believe in that free speech. I think that you should be silenced, actually.
I agree.
That's pretty base. I can
Yeah.
agree with that.
I think
agree with that,
if
yeah.
you're promoting that, then your church should be burned down. The Church of Satan should be burned down.
Oh yeah.
Oh, did you
Satan
guys?
has no place in America.
Yeah, well, Satan runs America right now. We're trying to fix that. But did you see that they were talking about they're trying to overturn Roe v. Wade, which I don't have any faith that that's going to happen. I hope it does, but I don't think it's going to. But did you see the Satanist girls, the lesbians or whatever they were outside of the thing, swallowing abortion pills outside of it?
Yeah, that was wild. I'm like, it's bad. I mean, obviously, like, it's bad if you take it, if you are
You're possessed.
pregnant, but like, if you're not pregnant, you're taking an abortion pill. Like, what? Like, what is? I can't. Like, there's like these people are just straight up evil. Like, there's no.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, was that
Yeah,
real?
you
Like,
wonder why there was a whole witch hunt back in the day, in like the 1800s or whatever.
yeah, everybody
Witch
talks.
trials.
Everybody always talks like, oh,
You wonder why?
they burned the witches or whatever. That's like the only good thing that Protestants ever did,
Yeah,
probably.
for good reason.
But what's it called? Yeah. So yeah, I don't understand the abortion swallowing the pill thing because if they weren't pregnant, then they're just screwing up their insides with these chemicals, whatever, which is just really retarded.
Right.
If they were pregnant, they're murdering their child in front of everybody and using it as a sign of empowerment, basically sacrificing their children to Satan or whatever. But there's just no way to look at it where like that's like unless they were fake pills. Like, what are you trying to prove though? It's so stupid.
Right. Exactly. Like, I just like these women are straight up demonic.
Yeah.
Like that. There's no other explanation for it, man. Like, we truly are living in like good versus evil.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of times right now, like it's
Yeah, and
crazy.
if the best case scenario does happen too with the Roe v. Wade, I think your biracial. I think your mic is like echoing.
Oh, I might be driving into a bad spot right now, so that's probably it. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but your mic is a little messed up. Like every time I talk, I hear my voice through it. All right. Well, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, it's really bad now. Hold on. I'm gonna mute you for a second and see if it gets better. Hello. Yeah. All right. You're unmuted, but what's it called? I think it's your mic. Can you talk?
Yeah.
All right.
Is that good?
Hello. Yeah, no, it's still doing that.
Okay, I'll just mute myself.
All right. Sorry about that. All right. Ray Gregory Santos, what's up? I unmuted you. If you want to talk, you were raising your hand.
How's it going, Specs? I love you, man. You're
Yeah,
awesome.
Love you too, man. What's up? How are you?
I wanted to kind of add on with that idea of freedom. I mean, a lot of my friends and I, we always talk about it. Not to be contrarian, but America had it coming, man. That, we Christians, no matter what, branch you're from, the idea of freedom is freedom from sin. But, with the idea of freedom America was built off from was like away from authority to live your own life. I mean, this was all bound to happen eventually, right?
Right. I think that the American idea of freedom, people think it's freedom from moral standards, freedom from responsibility, things of that nature. But we're not, well, for me, I'll speak for myself. I'm not America first because of any abstract government principles like liberty and freedom and constitutional law and stuff like that. I'm America first because it's my home and I want what's best for my home. And what's best for my home is retaining traditions and moral order and honestly, everybody becoming Catholic. But, that's why. It's not because like, oh, you're not a constitutionalist, you're not this or whatever. The Constitution didn't save us from where we are now. now, so no, I'm not like I'm a strict constitutionalist, and obviously you can go a little schizo and go into them being Freemason deists and stuff like that. I don't really care about America's government. I care about the American people, and the American people are being led by a government regime that hates them, and the only true freedom is freedom from Jesus Christ, because he liberates you from sin and eternal damnation. So if you're talking about freedom of anything else, then it's a non sequitur,
Yeah, I think because so I'm not Roman Catholic, unfortunately. I'm Orthodox.
It's all right. Repent and
But
convert. Hopefully you come home.
but I really think like we as Americans sola scriptura our document. We focus too much on the written form instead of what's literally been passed down to us
Right.
by word or deed. And
Right.
I think that's been one of our main issues.
Right, because of course the Word of God is both in Scripture and through tradition and the Church and all that stuff. And what the foundation of liberalism and the foundation of Protestantism are the same thing, which is subjectivism. And I talk bad about Protestants all the time. People say that I'm sowing division and stuff like that. Like I've already talked about this a bunch of times. I am willing to, unite with Protestants and other religion, even non-Christian people who are sympathetic to Christianity and stuff like that, for our common political goals. But when it talks about talking about faith, I'm never going to like soften my message. Like I am a Catholic extremist. It's Catholicism all the way, But the fundamental thing with liberalism and Protestantism is subjectivism, because they believe that they have the authority to interpret Scripture however they want. And what that leads to is 30,000 different sects, all of people who are reading Scripture to their own interpretation and being able to use it to push any agenda they want. And they don't understand that Catholics and Orthodox to a certain extent as well have tradition and early church fathers interpretation and a proper way to look at Scripture in proper context and through the translations and stuff like that, and understand what it really means, and not it's not what we want it to mean, it's what it's what we're told it means, from the church and from our hierarchy,
Exactly.
And
Christ left the church. He didn't leave written words, written books. He left the church, right?
Absolutely, founded the church on St. Peter, right, and the apostles, and gave them the authority, guided by the Holy Spirit at Pentecost, to continue the church, right? And there's only supposed to be one church. We're all supposed to be united. Hopefully, Orthodox and Catholics are united. Protestants, hopefully, they'll unite one day after like 20 years in a forced labor camp, hopefully, and hopefully, and we'll see what happens. I don't know.
I mean, in the end, I'm not really a major ecumenist or anything like that, but like, I mean, I'm we're all going to the same gulag one day, right? So,
Right.
I mean, in the end, like, it's fun bashing Protestants too, but in the end, I love everyone, of course. It's all fun and games in the end.
Mhm.
Maybe some things might mean more than others, but
Right. Well,
it's all
to be
fun and
honest,
games.
I know more Protestants who are more conservative than Catholics, or people that claim to be Catholic, right? But that doesn't change what the true church is, right? So when we have political movements or whatever, or when I go to Nick Fuentes' rallies and stuff like that, I'm sure most of them might be more Protestant than they are Catholic or whatever, But that doesn't change that Catholicism is the true faith and Protestantism is not, So, and that was another thing. During the abortion thing, the Roe v. Wade thing, Sotomayor was saying that if just because an unborn baby can feel pain doesn't prove life, right? Now that was so rage-inducing or whatever, and she's I'm a Catholic or whatever, and people use this like, oh, look at all these Catholics and they're pro-abortion and all this stuff or whatever. They are not Catholics; they are heretics. Just because you call yourself a Catholic, if you are not abiding by Catholic teaching, you are not a Catholic, right? And it's so ironic. I know this is kind of trite at this point, but like they will tell you that a speck of water or a molecule found on a fake planet a billion miles away, that's considered life or whatever, but an unborn baby that can feel pain in the womb is not a life, and you have the right to murder that at will because it's your choice and it's empowering and stuff, And all these people talking about like, oh, well, if you criminalize abortion, then then women are going to get illegal abortions and they're going to die from complications and stuff like that. Okay, good. Like, what do you mean? Like, that's not anybody's problem. What is your point? Who cares?
They try to make
you're murdering somebody.
Extreme example of an excuse that will probably happen 0.007% of the population. It's so dumb.
Right. They always talk about rape and incest and all of these things that are such a minority of abortion cases, where it's like less than 3% of abortion cases are from either rape or incest or some other terrible tragedy or whatever. And they say, oh, well, they shouldn't get abortions if that. It's like it's not that complicated. It's either abortion is murder or it's not. And we know it's murder because we believe that life begins at conception, right? Because we are told that by God. And any other, when you say like, oh, well, life starts when they have fingernails or they have a heartbeat or something like that, nobody can agree when life starts. So it's ultimately arbitrary and subjective. So life begins at conception, right? And if you have an abortion for any reason, you are murdering a child. It doesn't matter if you were raped or if it was incest. Yes, those are horrible things. And yes, those people should be punished or whatever. But the baby is a human life and you have no right to end that life under any circumstance, right?
And like in those guys, those people know that they're ending a life. Because when you bring it up to them, they try every way to not say murder, but they just say you're stopping or ending something. They don't say murder because they know it is. Because what else would it be? You
Yeah.
know?
And they say, oh, we want it safe, legal, and rare or something like that. No, they don't. And when they say, and you know what? When they say these things, when they say like, oh, what about during rape or incest or whatever? And it's like, okay, so do you want to criminalize all abortions except for babies that were made through rape or incest? And of course they're going to be like, no, I think abortion should be legal, it's a woman's choice or whatever. It's like, okay, so then you're not arguing in good faith, because even if we like submitted to that idea that okay, maybe abortion is okay for incest and rape or whatever, you would still be like, no, it's not. And every time they get these things legalized, these degeneracies legalized, gay marriage, abortion, all of this horrible stuff, they always go further. They're never like, oh, okay, we're satisfied now, we went as far as we need to, and we need to be the same way. So if we overturn Roe v. Wade, right, the next thing that we should work on getting made illegal is contraception and premarital sex and all this other stuff. We can't just like be like, oh well, abortion's illegal now we're good. It's like, no, now we got to get homosexuals off of TV. We need to stop all of this other degeneracy. We can't just be satisfied, because they're never satisfied. They're gonna keep going and going and going.
I hear you, man. I don't mean to take up all of the time. I got one more.
Mandatory school forms in every high school.
Mandatory what?
I,
What'd you say, Diego? All right.
Oh, I just said we need mandatory school uniforms in every high school.
Well, we need
Like, as
mandatory
an 18-year-old, I just
Catholic high
graduated
schools.
this year.
when I was
Bad, bro.
15, I was against that.
Yeah,
Now as an
like
adult,
middle schoolers
I'm
wearing like,
totally
dude,
for it.
it's embarrassing.
Same.
It's literally embarrassing.
Oh,
So true.
oh, true.
Middle
But-
schoolers wearing like, dude, like it's. Imagine being a parent. Imagine being a parent, and you have this kid like that.
Yeah, me and my wife are we're arguing. We're conflicted on right now. We're planning on homeschooling my daughter,
Homeschool, man,
and
do it.
yeah, we're gonna try that first. So it's gonna be really hard with our schedules, but we're definitely gonna do homeschooling or whatever.
True.
But what's it called? We have a Catholic school that's connected to our parish that is supposedly a really good school, and I talked to the priest, and he's pretty traditional, considering. Well, I mean, for a Novus Ordo priest, I guess, but he's pretty traditional and conservative and stuff like that. So we're gonna also look into that to see what we want, because like I don't believe in the thing of like, oh, if you homeschool your kid, then they're going to be socially awkward or something like that or whatever. But we also want them to still be socialized. Like we're gonna put
Yeah.
my daughter's in ballet, and we're going to put both of our kids in other activities and stuff like that. But I still want them to be around like other kids, I guess. I don't know. So it's we're gonna see what it is. But regardless, I'm still going. If they do end up going to school, then I'm definitely going to be monitoring everything they learn and correcting any global homo propaganda they get.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, like I just talked to one of my priest's sons. Like, the kid's like only 6 or 7. I forgot what grade he's in. But then his teacher showed them like the blown off face of JFK. Like he literally told me that this teacher did that. Like,
What?
well, what the heck?
Oh, you know what's a funny
Yeah,
story? I got
it's really insane. Like out of all things, that's insane. I don't know, man. The public school is getting so crazy.
Yeah, so when I was in 8th grade, George W. Bush was president. I'm trying to think what year it was. I think it was 2006 or 2007. And we had this Jewish teacher who was a super liberal who hated George W. Bush. Like every day we went to class, he would say something about George W. Bush, right? And so I would always mess with him. Like I wasn't really cared about politics. I was fucking 12 years old or something. And so I would always like anytime he would say, "Did you see what George W. Bush said last night?" I'd be like, "Yeah, he was awesome," right? Like just to mess with him, right? And I remember, so
It's fucking awesome.
yeah, he was great. Yeah, I loved him. I loved George W. Bush, right? So he hated me, right? And then we had a Holocaust class, right? And he,
No.
yeah. So no, it's not too bad. But so he said,
I
okay.
was absent
He
on the day
said,
of our Holocaust.
oh, I was too, but not for my own choice. But so he goes, oh, we're gonna watch a Holocaust documentary tomorrow, and it's gonna be very brutal and very violent. You're gonna need to get permission slip signed by your parents because there is nudity. And I screamed out, yeah, titties, right? And so I got kicked out of my 8th grade Holocaust class for that. He didn't like that. He didn't like that at all.
Hilarious.
How crazy is it that those same people now love Bush, right? How crazy is that?
Who loves Bush? Oh
Dude,
yeah,
what if you just say,
yeah.
how
The
do we know these pictures
liberals,
are
the
real in the middle
liberals
of
and
class?
All right,
While you're
all right.
watching it?
Relax,
You're
relax,
just like, hey, how
relax.
do we know these pictures are real, teacher?
No, they're real. They're all real. Relax, relax.
But yeah, I would say
No,
like how
like
the
as a joke,
liberals
as a
and
joke.
Democrats, the liberals and Democrats now love Bush now all of a sudden, you know?
Oh yeah, of course, because because Bush is a neocon and he's nowhere near as
Uh-huh.
right as Trump. And what's funny is Trump is just he's not even that right wing at all. He's a New York
He's actually
liberal.
quite so liberal, yeah.
He's just like I don't know what the word is, like in your face, abrasive, doesn't care about like offending people. Um,
Mhm.
and like I think that because he had so many layers where like he was saying things that were attracting nationalists, saying things that were attracting libertarians, moderates, and stuff like that. I think that's he had everything that everybody wanted. So and when people go like, oh, you like Trump, he supported gay rights and all this stuff, and it's like, yeah, he has a lot of cringe things. He was obviously a disappointment as a president. He didn't do what we wanted him to do or whatever, but he's still the best that we could ever get. I don't think the position of president should even exist. I want a Catholic theocratic monarchy, but that's not going to happen. We got to take what we can get. And Trump he changed the entire system. I was just talking about how like he exposed so many people for how like disgusting everybody really is. Yeah, Bush
The
and yeah.
2015 to 2018 news cycle was the best news cycle ever. 2015 to 2018, before everyone got banned, was the perfect. Like he pissed off everyone, and all the people who weren't banned pissed off people. And it was a fun time, dude.
Bro, when he said
It was a great time.
when they said, "Oh, you talk bad about women, you called them disgusting pigs and stuff," and he was like, "Only Rosie O'Donnell, bro." That
Oh
was
man, I still go back to watch those
so
compilations,
yeah, the
man.
compilations where he was just abusing Jeb and cucking him and stuff, and then he
Jeb
said
Bush.
he said what did he say? He said he said something about Barbara Bush or whatever, and Jeb goes, "My mother is the greatest woman I know," and Trump said, "Then she should be running." That was so based. I miss him so much. We didn't know how good we had it because like when like I was like a Trump obsessed at first, right? And then as time went on and I got like red pilled about like Israel and stuff like that, like I was like I kept getting more and more disappointed with him or whatever. And then with the 2020 BLM riots where he didn't like send in the National Guard and stuff, I was getting super mad or whatever. But like compared to now where everything is so boring and gay and like just horrible, we don't even have a real president. We have like this walking corpse puppet, whatever. Like it's just everything was so much more entertaining and fun. And with Trump, I miss him so much.
I do too, man. It was great talking to
So
you,
true.
Spencer. I gotta go. I
Yeah,
gotta
bro.
work, unfortunately.
All right, good seeing you.
Great
See you
talking.
later.
Adios.
See ya.
Slava Isusu Christus.
See you, man.
Frederick.
Build the wall.
Who else? Anybody? Nobody else is raising their hand. Who do we got here? Yo.
Yo, Specto, can you hear me?
Yes, who's talking? Trombone?
Yeah, trombone zoomer.
Hey, man, what's up?
Nothing. I was waiting my turn. I went to John Doyle. He had a speaking event near me yesterday, and so after work I went out to go see it. And you'd be surprised how many America Firsters, like Nick Fuentes supporters, Groypers, show up to all these. Like, because this was it was a TPUSA event, right?
Really?
Yeah, it was hosted by the college Republicans, right? But several America First people were there. I went, with my America First hat, and I saw another guy with the AF hat, and a lot of the APU guys were there, including Kai Clips. I know Kai is like one of us, right? He's an America Firster. He's a Groyper, and there was some other APU guys. And it was pretty cool. I asked a question about Catholicism and
to who?
and how
John
much of a
Doyle?
role. Yeah.
Yeah, I asked him a question. It was basically about since our country's super atheist and subjective, and it's making everything horrible. Like obviously, I said it more eloquently than this, but
I basically said, how much of a role does the cross have in the conservative movement? And he gave a really good answer. And took a picture with him afterwards. And it was kind of cool. It was surprising meeting these people you only see on a screen in real life, like face to face, right?
That's awesome.
And John, he gave a quick word while we're taking a picture. He'll say, "You'd be surprised how much grief the America Firsters give me by the stuff he doesn't say, or just all that." And I told him, I'm just like, don't worry about it. We know you're one of us.
Yeah.
He does his own thing. He does his own thing, and he's on the plays and all that. But we know he's one of us. He says the right things, and people like John are the people we want. You know how people say Ben Shapiro is like a part of the conservative pipeline. People start with Ben Shapiro,
and they get stuck there, though.
Yeah, exactly. They say, but they say that people start with Ben Shapiro and Daily Wire and they become groypers, and maybe some do.
Some do. Some get stuck in that boomer mode and just stay there.
Exactly. What Fox News does.
I went from Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder to John Doyle to Spectre, then to America First.
Oh, nice. Who said that? I can't see who's talking.
That's mine. Diego.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I went. I mean, I had the similar pipeline.
Diego.
I went from.
Yeah, I actually found you before America First.
Really? Oh, that's cool. I went to. Let's see. I was doing like Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder, Stefan Molyneux. Who else? Gavin McGinnis, Milo Yiannopoulos, and then I went to more other stuff that I can't really say or whatever. And then like I ended up like just becoming like a cringe accelerationist kind of person who was like, oh, there is no political solution. This is all stupid. Politics sucks. We need to purposely vote against our interests or whatever. And then my friend was sending me clips of Nick Fuentes or whatever, and I didn't like him at first, right? I was like, because I saw his interview with Patrick Little, and I thought Patrick Little was a fucking retard, but I thought that Nick Fuentes was just being what's it called, like unnecessarily mean, I guess, like wasn't really listening to him. Now I think that he handled that whole situation great, but at the time, that's what I thought. And then my friend would keep sending me clips of Nick Fuentes, and I was like, no, I don't like this kid, blah, blah. But then every new clip he would send, I would be like, he is saying exactly what I think, just in a more articulate way. Like he's saying like all this information that I know, but he's saying it in a way that like you could tell to normal people, and like that would attract them, and it wouldn't push them away and like make them call you like an insane person, So that's basically what brought me to like start watching Nick Fuentes and stuff. But yeah, that pipeline is definitely real. And as far as John Doyle, he's definitely super based, and he definitely knows more than he talks about in his videos, obviously. And like people try to put Nick against John Doyle or whatever, and it's like they're both doing good things. I wish that John Doyle would be more openly pro Nick Fuentes, but whatever, let him do his own thing, I guess. And they're obviously on the same team, so there's no reason to like sow division like that.
Well, John
They
Doyle
said they're friends. Nick
nice
said
things about
he's friends.
nice things about Nick. So, like he has mentioned Nick on his stream. An interesting thing about John Doyle.
I'm sorry. Who mentioned who on their team?
John mentioned Nick on his stream. They were talking about the White Boy Summer stuff and other. So it's like it's not like it's complete, like, oh, he never mentions him or anything. But what's interesting is I sent John Doyle to like the most Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder guy I know, right? And he's like, oh, I like this guy. He's really smart. I'm like, got him. That's all
right.
Need. Like, you need. Good thing about John Doyle is he kind of doesn't have the baggage that Nick has when it comes to certain topics.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. But it's that pipeline. He's like a good.
Yeah.
The alt-right used to be that good movement away from like the neoconservatives and the Ben Shapiros and stuff. So you go over to like Milo, Paul Joseph Watson, Alex Jones, and that was like, okay, then you start bringing them over more. So you need like those degrees. It sounds weird, but you need those degrees.
Right. No, absolutely.
To, like, do it.
Yeah, exactly. And John Doyle basically says the right thing about every single topic. He just doesn't mention race or like Israel and like Zionism and stuff like that, right? Which is fine, because then you can go to Nick Fuentes and hear about that stuff, I guess, But he's definitely he definitely has I don't like how people. The only thing, because I remember when I was watching John Doyle on an Instagram thing, and this was before last year's Stop the Steal rally where Nick Fuentes and John Doyle like did a speech together, kind of. And I was watching John Doyle. I was already a fan of Nick Fuentes at the time. I was watching John Doyle, and like the whole entire chat was saying, "What do you think about Nick Fuentes? What do you think about Nick Fuentes?" Right? Like the whole entire chat was saying that, right? And he would not like respond. He wasn't like even mentioning Nick Fuentes, right? And
Dude, I was literally one of those people in the chat. Dude. I was spamming that.
And so then I was like, whatever. I like what he says, but I don't understand why he won't acknowledge Nick Fuentes' existence, right? And then, but then last year he put a Instagram story, and he basically like, well, first he did the thing with Nick Fuentes, which was cool, but then he explicitly did a story on Instagram where he was like, if you are disavowing Nick Fuentes because of edgy jokes he made, you're gay or something like that. So that was cool. Yeah. And then he was posting stuff where he said that he was talking to Nick or whatever. So they're allies. There's no reason to like there was this whole gay debate on Twitter the other day where they were like, oh, John Doyle is 10 times better than Nick Fuentes, and then all the Groypers started defending Nick or whatever. But there's no reason to like do that. Let me answer some of these questions. Hold up. Bush is Skull and Bones Society, a very evil person. I agree, because I think he is in like Freemasonry or whatever, and he comes from an evil family. Somebody's breathing into the mic really loud. But also, I think that Bush is actually just retarded too, and I think that he's just like wants to make his dad proud or something, and like wants power, and just basically got into the presidency and was like, Dick Cheney, you do everything you want to do. I don't want to know anything. And just like, I think he was just like, I don't know, pseudo president, I guess. That's just my view. I could be completely wrong. Maybe he's smarter than he appears, but I don't know. I don't think that he's like, everybody wants to blame Bush and stuff like that. Like, I don't think that he has the brain capacity to really like keep all the conspiracies that we need. Yeah, 100%. I think Cheney was definitely the humble. Where did I get the Christmas drip? I got this in TJ Maxx. Spexo, do you think America?
TJ Maxx drip.
Yeah. Spexo, do you think America is doomed to fail? Not being blackpilled, just asking your honest opinion. I mean, hopefully the America as we know it is doomed to fail. Hopefully and then we bring a resurgence of something new and better. But we shouldn't really worry about whether or not America is going to fail or not, because ultimately we don't know. All we can do is try to push America in the right direction, but ultimately it's up to God, right? So, I mean, that's not what we should worry about. We should worry about being good Catholics and trying to push Christian principles and spread the truth, and whatever happens in the end happens at the end. As long as we're good with God, that's really what matters. What else? Thoughts?
Pray and prepare, right?
Yeah, pray and prepare. Thoughts on the drunken presence? Degenerate, pedophile, leftist, liberal faggots who need to repent and convert. Hopefully they see the light and come to Jesus Christ, but they keep slandering me and calling me a Nazi, which is really gay.
Spexo, is my mic good? Can you hear me well?
Yes, but try to maybe move your mic a little bit away from your mouth, because I think it was you that could hear.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
All right. JDM Project says, what's my favorite MDE video? My favorite MDE video will always be You Trip My Wife. Like, every time I watch that, I crack up. It's perfect. I don't know. All right. Who else is in this chat that wants to talk? Nobody's raising their hand. Who's speaking right now? We got Diego, Static. What's up, Static?
What's up? I just came back from eating.
Yes, who's talking? Who's that?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Muscles marinara.
Hey, what's up? You're like a big super chatter to Nick, right? Are you like a big super chatter to Nick? Because I feel like I've heard your name before.
No, I mean, I've super chatted to him like once or twice, but I don't super chat that much.
Okay. What's up, man?
I'm the guy that draws all the pictures.
Oh, of Jesus? Oh, yeah, that was good. Yeah. Good job. Keep doing that.
Thanks. I wanted to talk about like you homeschooling. Like, I think you should totally do it, because I'm 18 and I'm in high school.
Yeah.
And the school I'm in, we have a program that's linked to the ADL. It's like No Place for Hate.
Oh, no.
And we're ranked like one of the top schools for like no hate. And literally what they make you do is every single month they make you sign a no hate pledge. And
you gotta be kidding me.
It's pain. I don't
sign your soul to Israel.
Yeah, where is that?
A no hate pledge.
Don't self-dox, but that sounds really cocked. Like,
holy shit.
It's bad. It's bad. There's a lot of Jews that go to my school too, but
shocking.
Oh no, even worse.
Boy.
Yeah, it's really bad.
There it is. There it is.
I had a dream to go to my school.
All right, let's hold on. Nothing bad has happened yet, but let's also keep in mind that we're on a public chat. I'm live streaming. Try to keep it a little bit optical. All right.
Of course.
Yeah.
They're against hate. Then you should share with them the love of Jesus Christ.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Like, I'll give you another example. In my public school, the biggest club is the Gay Straight Alliance.
Yeah, we had that in my high school too.
Yeah, it's the biggest club in my school, and if you're thinking about
Wait,
worrying
the
about
what alliance?
socialization, there's a bunch of kids in my school, like dudes that wear fishnets and with makeup and stuff. It's
Yeah, it's Gay Straight. The Gay Straight Alliance. They had that in my school too. It's really stupid. It's basically
Gay Straight
Alliance. So
Alliance.
it's like gay people and straight people organized to do pro-gay activism to end hate or some fucking gay shit like that.
That's a thing. That's a thing.
It's a thing. It was. I was in high school 12 years ago. So
how did they stop getting bullied? How did these people stop
I
getting
never
bullied?
had that in my
because
high
they
school.
made
How did
it
that go
illegal
wrong,
to bully.
because violent homosexuals, this is actually what happened. Violent homosexuals organized and started throwing riots and got I forgot what it's called, some medical organization that was labeling homosexuality as a mental illness since the beginning of America, basically. And they basically got it pulled out and started throwing all these parades and basically forced us to tolerate their degeneracy. That's basically how it got.
Harvey
Holy
Milk.
shit. So boomers are just letting gay people riot out in the streets. Jesus, dude. Oh
Hey,
my-
Spec, so I have a question, if you don't mind me asking.
What up?
So I'm still reading the Bible that I have, the Dewey Rhymes. Whoever recommended me it, thank you. It's great.
Dewey Rams, yeah.
Dewey Rhymes, yeah, Rhymes, I think it's called.
Yeah.
When I start getting used to it and start understanding it more, what should I read next in your what suggestions would you recommend me
For
to
what?
get after?
Catholicism?
Catholicism in general.
I would recommend the Baltimore Catechism, which I think is the best catechism. The St. Pius Catechism is also really good, but I think that the Baltimore Catechism is more fuller and more explanatory. And but I think my favorite Catholic book so far that I found is The Fundamentals of Catholic Dogma by Ludwig Ott. Right?
I heard about that.
That is
I heard about that.
That is awesome. It's so great because it doesn't just explain like what we believe. It explains why we believe it, what historical theologians and early church fathers said about these beliefs. It talks about the knowability of God, how there's a Catholic dogma saying that we could know God just by human reason alone, right? And then it goes into what Thomas Aquinas said about knowability and how he was able to prove the existence of God just through logical human reason and stuff. And then it has what early church fathers said about how we could look at the creation of the world and have this understanding of beauty, this natural understanding of morality and natural order and stuff like that. And the only explanation is God and all this stuff. But it goes really in depth. And then it goes through that for not every, but a bunch of the official Catholic dogmas, and it just goes into such in-depth explanatory things concerning these dogmas, and it's just so good. If you really want to learn in-depth about your faith, I think that's the best book you can get.
That's because that's what I'm doing now. I'm trying to, get better with my faith because I am lacking in that, and I feel like a lot of people are. But also another thing, why? I have a feeling that a lot of people that reject Christ and always mock him all the time, that you see online all the time,
right?
I think it's because they have this is just my opinion, maybe they have a weak father or no father at all. So they substitute it by saying, oh, fuck Christianity, I'm going to become this or this because I don't have a father to set me straight and to, have a good figurehead. Because that's why a lot of these people are messed up and they look weird. And I'm like, oh boy.
Right. Well, you see that with a lot of people, with anybody, regardless of race or gender. The common denominator of the vast majority of degenerate people and people who do evil things is a lack of a strong father figure. Either their father died, or they weren't around, or they were just weak, or whatever. And that in turn usually ends up making them weak, right? And makes them not have strong values, not have discipline, all of that stuff, or whatever. So that is definitely one of the main causes of that. But we're also taught that all of our wicked desires, all of our fallen nature, whatever, that's a result of moral weakness and spiritual weakness as a result from the fall of mankind, right? So that's the only reason where atheism and anti-Christianity is possible, is because people are morally and spiritually weak. Because if you have an earnest desire to learn the truth, right, you have everything that connects to the internet, you have all the abilities to get the information that you need, so there is no reason not to be Christian. There's no reason not to believe in Jesus Christ, right? All these atheists that want to debate Catholicism, Christianity, and the existence of God and stuff like that, if they truly understood Christianity, they would be Christian, right? Because it is the only faith that has the facts to back it up. And I think people just do mental gymnastics because they don't want to accept that moral order. They can't. And I think Midwest Jeff was talking about this the other day, where people don't want to believe in God because they can't understand somebody with that much mercy. They want to put their own idea of morality into God instead of accepting God's morality. Where they're like, oh, well, you mean God wants to can forgive pedophiles or something like that, right? And it's like, well, if they repent, yeah, absolutely. That doesn't mean that they can't face temporal punishment. That doesn't mean that they shouldn't be murdered, right? But like, yes, if no matter what sin you did, there is no unforgivable sin besides suicide, because you can't repent suicide because you're already dead. But no matter what sin you do, if you really repent and try to change your ways, you can be forgiven by God. That's why God has infinite mercy. That's why he's higher than Christ. Like, people don't have infinite mercy like that, right? So so I think that while fatherhood is definitely a common denominator, it's not the only thing. People are just naturally in a fallen state, and it's whether they want to earnestly search for truth or not.
Because I was watching.
They got a fragile ego too.
Yeah, because I was watching a video by Trent Horn. You recommended him in some of your one of your lists, Spexo. I was watching him talking about it, and he was like, if an atheist tries to go after you about Christianity, ask them this question: why are they an atheist? What made them become an atheist? And you'll realize that they don't know how to explain it, because they're atheists because it's cool, because it's like they just shit on Christ. But when you ask them why, they can't explain it.
Right. You'll say, why don't you believe in God or whatever? And they'll be like, well, there's no proof of God. And then you provide them with a proof, and they say that, well, that proof isn't satisfactory or whatever. And it's like, okay, well, what's your proof there isn't a God? Right? And they're like, oh, no, well, the burden of proof is on you. And it's like, okay, well, I provided the proof. You're not accepting it, so you have to explain why you're not accepting that proof, right? You have to explain causality without saying that there is this supernatural force outside of time, space, and matter, right? Because if you're saying that one thing caused it, if you're saying the Big Bang happened, okay, what caused the Big Bang? Oh, well, these nuclear particles. Okay, what caused the nuclear particles, right? So if you don't have this one infinite force, this ultimate starter, this unmoved mover, right, then you're just going to continue going into a bunch of different reasons of why things happened, and keep going. And that's incomprehensible. You can't go on for infinity without accepting that there is an infinite thing, right? And if there's something that created time, space, and matter, right, that means that he is outside. This force is outside of time, space, and matter. And if a force outside of time and space and matter created all that stuff, it has to be God, right? So
exactly.
Yep. Chrome.
And I thank you for all those resources that you linked in the chat months ago, where you got most of some information on Catholicism at, because those people changed my mind when it comes to Vatican II, and when it comes to like all the post-Vatican II ecumenical councils and Novus Ordo. So now I realize, what the Sedevacantists say is kind of bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely.
When it comes to some sense, they make sense sometimes, but remember, a broken clock gets a time right twice a day. So, you know,
it's the thing with Sedevacantists is that all of the problems, not all of them, but a vast majority of the problems that they point out happening within the church are legitimate. But it's that their ideas for solution are insane. And I compare them to how radical leftists that are like super Marxist that hate capitalism, right? We may have a common ground where we both see that there is this like international capitalism that is hurting middle class workers, right? But their ideas for solutions is like, or their ideas for reasoning why is because like it's racist or white supremacist or something like that. And what we need to do to fix this is redistribute the wealth and complete socialism and all this stuff. But so it's like, we can have these overlapping agreements, but that's as far as it goes. Like you want to say, that means that there hasn't been a pope since 1965 and blah blah all this stuff. So it's just complete nonsense. People just have no nuance.
I can't believe there's some people that really think that. I can't imagine that.
There's a lot of people that believe that. It's a growing thing, and it is understandable because people that get into the Catholic faith and they see what's going on in the church and they see all these things that the Pope and the clergy are doing, and plus you have all these sexual scandals and stuff like that, and they're like, how could this be the true church if all these bad things are happening and stuff like that? And because they don't have the correct guidance or whatever, they will end up into heresy, like Sedevacantists,
And the Catholic Church now, it's bad, but it's been far worse before. Like a lot worse.
I would
Would you agree, or maybe to an extent?
It depends. I don't think it's been this bad in terms of like theological, spiritual problems. I don't know if that's the right terminology, but we've had horrible popes and horrible clergies. We've had scandals. We've had times of mass confusion and popes that were horrible people morally, meaning like they were adulterers and murderers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The main problem with this church is lack of strictness. Not the church, but the people in the church is lack of strictness and talking ambiguously, not leading people in the right direction, poor catechesis where they're not teaching the faith traditionally and correctly. But, you know, I think there's a large hope for people that become devout now are going to be super strict, because why is anybody going to want to come to the church just by looking at it from like a superficial level or material level where they're seeing all this liberalism and stuff like that? If you actually want to become Catholic, I feel like you're the type of person like me who is going to like look in depth into the history of it and then become an extremist and like want to dedicate your life to it or whatever. And then those are the people that are going to start going into seminaries and become priests and stuff like that. And hopefully the clergy will be replaced by people who want to have like this reinvigorated faith in the church, you know?
Yep, I agree. All right, I'm gonna stop talking and let someone else talk.
Who else wants to talk? I don't know.
I'll also say that, like, just taking the example of Scripture, when the Jews coming out of Egypt, they were forced to wander until an entire generation died off because of their heresy at Mount Sinai. The idol worship at Mount Sinai. So in many ways, we sometimes you're just gonna have to wait until you go through this harrowing experience and a new generation can come in and refresh things.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I do think that there's going to be like a resurgence and a refreshment and stuff like that. The one thing we have to know that no matter how bad things get, we can't abandon the true church, right? That is it. It's like things just can't go bad and not go your way, and you're like, okay, well, I guess this isn't the true church anymore. It's so stupid. Let me
Yeah, and then
hold on. Let me just answer some of these questions. Do I know A.J. Williams? No, I don't know who L.J. Williams. Bush, the presidents are all figureheads. I just heard that he got into those positions of power. You have to do very evil things. He can be both stupid and evil. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I'm not downplaying his evilness. I'm just downplaying the role he played in that evilness. I'm not saying that he has like some strong moral code. He's a Freemason. He's not Catholic. He's like mentally retarded. So it's not. I'm not saying that he's like not evil. I'm just saying that he's really dumb. What happened to my beard? I shaved it like 2 weeks ago. I put a video shaving it. This is like my third video without a beard. Blah blah. Thoughts on DeSantis and red state standing up to the evil federal governments? DeSantis is a mixed bag. He's doing a lot of some cringe things or whatever. I think it's very epic what he's doing concerning the mandates and the vaccination, and completely calling out the Waukesha or whatever, however you say it, Waukesha massacre as anti-white. So he's a mixed bag for me. He's still a politician. I still think Trump would be better than him, but I think that he's getting more and more based because I think that he's planning to run for president either in 2024 or 2028. Zoomer Pill says, have I ever been to an Eastern Catholic Rite Mass? Highly recommend. No, I would love to. I'm hopefully going to my first Latin Mass on Sunday in Manhattan. It's gonna take like an hour and a half to get there, but me and my wife really want to go there. But Eastern Catholic Rite, I've been talking to Frederick, and he's kind of convinced me to try and change my rites, basically. But there's no Eastern Rite near me, but I would definitely want to do that and check it out. And also, I'm highly contemplating after I retire and move to maybe become a Eastern Catholic priest, because you could be married and be a priest, which is pretty cool. But I don't know. I definitely want to dedicate my life to God, though, in any way I can. What else? The last years of bullying, shunning furries and anime. Okay, I don't know what that guy's saying. Jesus is Lord, so true. I went to a rural school in a conservative area of a conservative state. Even we weren't safe from the LGBTQ clubs, groups of cross-dressing minors, and cat ear-wearing weirdos. Yeah, sounds horrible. Wait, what's the problem with sedevacantism? I just explained it. They are separated from the true church. They are heretics. They address problems but have horrible ideas of solutions. They think that they can count on their own subjective personal interpretations of things like revelation and all this other stuff. They don't have the authority. Like I said, if the Pope is a heretic, or if he's an anti-Pope, or whatever the case may be, right, the church will figure that out. We do not have the authority as laymen to decide that, right? We are required to submit to his authority and respect him, right? Now, that still means that we need to understand what papal infallibility is and understand what we can and can't criticize, but we still have to respect him as the Pope, as the Holy Father, right? Until we're told otherwise, until they declare that he is his papal him being Pope wasn't legitimate. When they say that, then we could say, okay, he wasn't the Pope or whatever, right? But until then, we are just laymen. We do not have that authority. We need to submit. Blah, blah, blah. What's up, Spexo? Hey, man. Hey, Spexo. Greetings from Germany. I actually live in Wittenberg, where Martin Luther put his thesis on the church door. That's actually a fake story. That never happened. He never put it on a church door. He just sent it to like a bunch of bishops and stuff like that. But my condolences that you are in the same presence as the worst person in human history. Am I supposed to call the church or anything before I go, or should I just walk in this Sunday? Just go in, bro. Just go to church. You don't have to make an appointment or anything like that. You're good. All right. What else? Okay, that's all the questions so far. Who else is in here? All right.
Oh, actually, I have one thing that I asked you. This Sunday, I'm going to be going to mass for the first time in a while. What advice would you give to somebody like me, or a newcomer, when it comes to their first mass? What to do and not to do? What would be your best advice for that?
What to do and what not to do? Well, don't receive communion until you've made confession, obviously. Just be quiet and respectful. Try to just kneel when everybody else kneels. Just follow along. Try to listen, and you get the hang of it, of like what you're supposed to do the more that you go. It's not like you're not going to go for the first time and like know everything you're supposed to do or whatever. But just keep going.
Yeah.
Are you confirmed yet?
Yeah, I'm confirmed. I've been confirmed for years already, but I never took the faith seriously.
Okay.
And I want to now start going to mass every week and start, dedicating a lot of my time to God, to
Awesome.
Jesus Christ, and learn more about Him.
Awesome. Well, you have a parish that you like that you want to go to, or you haven't?
Yes, I do. The church right across the street from me is the one I got baptized and confirmed in.
Nice.
It's not perfect, but it's better than nothing.
Of course.
And I've known them since I was a baby. They baptized me, of course, and my brother. So.
Well, I would recommend talking to the priest, right? Seeing like if he's cool, seeing what kind of Catholic programs they have. Sometimes they have like Bible study. Sometimes they have I don't know if they have like theology courses. Sometimes they have like things like the what is it called? Kings of Columbus? Why am I missing the
Knights of Columbus?
Knights of Columbus.
Knights of Columbus?
Knights of Columbus, right? Sometimes they have
Yeah.
like organizations like that where like you can it's like a community of Catholic people or whatever. I think that's a very good thing to both get deeper into your faith and talk to like-minded people. For the most part. I mean, I don't know how liberal they are, but I think that's all good things that you can do.
I don't think they are liberal because, as far as I'm concerned, I don't see any LGBT or Black Lives Matter shit being posted, like being put up there. So as far as I see so far, there hasn't been anything like that.
Right. When I was looking,
I could be wrong.
When I was looking for a church to go to, the first church I went to was my family's church, and they've been going there since like the 1960s. And the priest was Indian. There was two priests. There was one that was Indian. There was one that was Asian. I couldn't understand what either of them were saying. Right. And so I was like it's nothing against them. It's just I want to be able to understand what's going on. Right. So I went to the next church I went to. They what the heck? Hold on one second. The next church I went to, because I gotta change. I'm playing Fortnite and I gotta change the settings on my volume because it's mad loud right now. I can't really hear myself.
You guys still play Fortnite?
I haven't played in.
I got bored of that.
I haven't played in 4 months, probably more. But figured I might as well right now. Settings, volume.
Games have been sucking a lot lately.
Yeah. Okay, there we go.
I don't know.
All right. So the next church I went to, they were like talking about that we need to say happy Passover or some Jewish holiday. Like we have to, let's pray for our Jewish brothers to have a happy Hanukkah or something like that, right? And I was like, what? Right? I was like, are you joking me? Right? So then I was like, okay, this church is not for me or whatever. And then I finally went to my church where I am now, and in relation to Novus Ordo priest, my priest is extremely conservative and traditional and very very based. When the Pope said that thing about like, oh, we need to be welcoming to gays or some nonsense or something like that, whatever he said, he did a homily where he basically said that tolerating homosexuality is not charity because we're condoning them sinning and like damning their soul to eternal hellfire, something like that. Not in those exact words, but it was very based. I was very because I was like that when I heard the Pope said that, I was like, what the heck is going on, you know? So then when I went to the mass the next day, like I was like super like like happy that you know that he said that he said like we don't condone homosexuality. We can be nice to people, but you know, display capture. All right, let's see. I'm gonna. Whoops. Yeah. Anybody else have any questions or want to say anything?
I'll speak one more time because I gotta go here in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I was hanging out with my friends this past weekend,
Okay.
and I noticed that whenever we're just sitting around, you know, talking or whatever, it always comes back to religion and theology. And because they know that I'm a Catholic and I take my faith seriously,
Mm-hmm.
even my friends who say, "Oh, I don't believe in anything," or "I think there is something out there, but I don't respect any religion or anything." It's very eye opening that they'll always come to me to try my best to explain. Oh, what's the Trinity? What's the this or that when it comes to Catholicism and religion?
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking about that, and I think it speaks to that no one is an atheist. No one truly believes to themselves that there is no God, or that this is fake or anything like that. They're scared of it. It's daunting, and so they're intimidated about it.
I mean,
and so instead of letting themselves be vulnerable and letting Christ, save them, come into their souls, they'll completely shut that part out of them. They'll try their best to claim that they don't believe in anything or things of that sort.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like when they're with somebody they trust, someone they know, like in my case now, I'm their friend. I've been their friend for years, right? And when it finally comes up, I think it just speaks to there's no such thing as an atheist or somebody that truly. There's people that are resentful towards God and Christ, and so those people are evil and possessed by demons.
Mm-hmm.
But the true.
Hello.
The people that just don't know what to believe.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to those, I think there's great potential. And it's pretty white-pilling to think that it's really not that hard to present this information and to get them thinking, and for them to like open themselves up to pride.
Right.
I agree.
I would. I agree to a certain extent, but when I was an atheist, I truly believed that there was no God. I wasn't like faking or anything like that. It was like I was like a devout atheist. You know, like I was like. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh,
You're
okay.
fine.
I don't know what that noise is in the background. Yeah, I was like a devout.
Yeah,
I was a devout atheist, and like I was to the point where like I wanted everybody to be atheist. You know, it was kind of like religion, where like now I want to convert everybody to Catholicism. I wanted to convert everybody to atheism. Right? It was very cringe and gay, but I definitely believed that there was no God. And what I don't understand is how people can be like what's the term I'm looking for? It's not deist. It's like somebody who believes in some type of higher power but doesn't know what it is and doesn't care or whatever.
Agnostic?
Agnostic is like I don't know if there is or isn't a God. I think I don't know. Like what's the term where it's like I believe in? Is it a theist? Maybe it's like I believe in a God, but I don't really I don't know what it is. Whatever. I think it might be theist, right? And it's like how can you believe that there's a creator and not care about it, right? Like how do you once I got to that point where I was like, okay, then like atheism really doesn't make any sense, and like there has to be some type of creator. Like I wanted to know, like, okay, well if there is a creator, I want to know what he wants from me. What does he want me to do? What's the right way of like worshiping him? Are we supposed to worship him? Like it changed my whole entire perspective and worldview. I don't understand how people could just be like, yeah, there might be a God, but whatever, who cares? Like it just makes no sense to me.
Such a normie answer.
Yeah, they just think that when they die, they'll be taken care of. Like, oh, I believe in the creator, so I'll do whatever I want while I live, and when I die, I'll be fine.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, Spexo, I'm
They believe
filthy.
if you do good things, you're gonna go to heaven. Like,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're just if you're vaguely nice, you can go to heaven. But
yeah.
That's what most. That's honestly that's what most Catholics believe in. Like that I know, because like most Catholics don't take their faith that seriously, and they just believe that if you're nice by today's cultural standards and you tolerate sin, and all this,
if you support sodomy and abortion, then you're going to heaven. It's retarded.
Yeah. But like, I think the best way to like, I guess convert people is honestly through example. Like I'm like the only religious person in my family. I go to church every Sunday, and I'm trying to become an altar server right now.
Oh, based.
And I guess some of my family like they see my dedication to like the faith.
Right. Yep.
And they come up to me and tell me, hey, maybe I'll start coming to church with you.
Yep. That's how it works. That's what my priest. I told the story before, but like it's the only way that you could really convert people or whatever is like by living by like inspiration, being the light and showing the change in you, right? Like you're not gonna be able to force anybody.
People Bible verses and being a Bible thumper isn't gonna do anything.
No, it's you have to change your life, and you have to actually live the faith and show the change that it does to you. You know, for people to be attracted. It's like it's by attraction, not really promotion. You know, like and then by that attraction, you might like. People might ask you questions about the faith or whatever, and then maybe you could like talk them into it. But you're not gonna really win too many people over by like being abrasive and you know, trying to like forcefully be fire and brimstone
about it. You know?
Right. Which don't get me wrong, I wish that was the case. I wish we can convert people at sword point or whatever, but we're not allowed to.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
that'd be awesome.
All right, hold on. Let me see. What is this? Yeah, so this guy is saying that during the communist regimes in Eastern Europe and the Balkans forced the Orthodox bishops to ordain state-approved priests, but any forced ordination is invalid. Very true. Fortnite is kind of dead these days. What's your opinion on Sikhs? The Guru thing is very wired. Sikhs, they're not Catholic, so they're gay.
They have gross beards.
Right. I remember during Trump or whatever. The media was calling these Sikhs Muslims or whatever, right? And all these Trump boomer tiers were like, they're not Muslims, they're Sikhs, and Sikhs are our friends. They're epic and based and blah blah because they're not Muslims or something.
They look funny.
Yeah, where you have a funny hat and you're not Catholic, so cringe.
Spexo, just letting you know, NP and Filthy Andre are putting their hands up. Just letting you know.
Who? Oh, I think you might have the authority to do that now or no?
Do I? I don't think so. No, I only see mute for me and open chat.
All right, hold on. Allowed to speak. Allowed to speak. All right, Filthy Andre and NP are allowed to speak. Are you allowed to kick people? Because if anybody says anything gay, kick them.
Let me check. I'm on my phone, so I don't see anything. I'm on my phone, so I don't think I really have that. I'm a useless admin, Jesus. I'm a useless admin.
I'm Spexo. I met an actual trad girl, and I don't know what to do right now. I'm just sending her Nick Fuentes clips and making fun of her for being a woman. Am I doing all right? Yeah, that's exactly what you want to do.
You're doing a
just
great
be
thing,
overbearing on her and force her to submit to your political views, and that's how you get a trad girl and marry them. You're doing absolutely correct.
I don't know. That might be a federal agent.
Yeah, that is true. It could be a Fed. If you haven't met her in real life yet, then that's
bro. I hate I hate these NPCs. I haven't played Fortnite in like 4 months, but I hate these NPCs, bro.
Oh, I do too.
Bro,
they're annoying as fuck.
Oh, come on, dude. Wow, this sucks.
Hey guys, the one time I played Fortnite, I played it once and I team killed.
What?
Wait,
that's the only thing I did.
Wait, who was speaking? NP, were you speaking?
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, man?
Oh, yeah.
Welcome.
To jump in here because just what you guys were saying, it reminded me. I read this homily, this set of sermons many years ago, and maybe the guy in Wittenberg knows Johannes Tauler, who was like a Dominican, and he wrote these very beautiful like homilies, and one of them, there was a series of them that he gave to these Dominican nuns on St. Joseph. And I just wanted to mention it because, we're coming up at the end of the year of St. Joseph. Mm-hmm. And in these homilies, there's like a theme that like runs through them. And it's really what you guys are talking about with this attitude of like, we need to like do everything we can. But like, we can't get like black-pilled. We just got to be relaxed. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean like we're doing nothing. That doesn't mean that everything's going to be okay. The world's like burning around us. Mm-hmm. And so, just like the running theme is like St. Joseph, he he's ready to go. He's ready to get married to this beautiful young woman, and then next thing you know, he finds out that she's pregnant, and his whole life's flipped upside down. But like, he doesn't freak out. He does what he's supposed to do. He's a just man, and then he's ready to divorce her quietly, and then the angel comes to him in a dream and says, "Oh wait, no, this is the Son of God that was conceived by the Holy Spirit." And now he flips all of his plans again, and so he's doing everything he's supposed to do, but he's also completely open and ready because he's always listening. And so he doesn't get frustrated. He doesn't say a single word in the Bible. And so just there's the set of homilies, really, really beautiful. And so just this whole idea, the words Gelassenheit is like this serenity, but it's like it's manly, it's like you're active and you're not just kind of sitting around doing nothing. And I was just thinking about that because it's just, I see it every day. There's family or friends, people I know that don't believe, but sometimes like all you can do is just, bear Christ. You receive communion. You Eucharistically bear him with you. You received him.
Don't
so
be
you
ashamed
carry him
to
out.
display your faith.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true, because if you truly believe in Christ and you believe that you're going to spend eternity in heaven with him and everything that we're taught, if you truly believe that, then there is no reason to ever truly despair, right? You should take your sufferings in stride and feel like they bring you closer to Christ, right? You should smile in spite of your pain, like you should be thankful for everything that God has given you and know that the temporal world is not all that there is, right? Because if you really don't believe in God, honestly, like I don't think anybody should kill themselves, but what is keeping you from not killing yourself, right? If this is all there is, right, and you're aware of how bad things are, right, and you're somehow like relatively right-wing or whatever, but you don't believe in God, right, then what's the point of not being in despair? What's the point of not just killing yourself, right? Because if you don't believe that there is anything and you believe everything is pointless or whatever, then there's no hope, right, for anything.
The only thing keeping Wignats going is esoteric Hitlerese.
I don't know what is up with them, bro. I don't know how they're still even around, bro. I don't
I don't know.
All
Half
this,
of them are feds, and then the other half are like trannies. So
all this degeneracy, though, it takes away your humanity, your human freedom. It literally is degeneracy. You become like an animal again.
It's enslavement to vice. That's what it is. People think that this freedom from moral order and structure is what liberty is, but it's just enslavement. The only true freedom is servitude to Christ. Right, that is the only actual. Yeah, it's not a slave, but in servitude, right? Like living for Christ, right? That's what the meaning of life is. The meaning of life is to know, love, and serve God. That's why God created us, right? It's in the first couple of pages of the Catechism. It's like, why did God make us? To know, love, and serve Him, right? So, if you're doing anything else besides that, if your life isn't surrounded by God, then your life, you have no purpose in your life. You're not living for anything. You're living for temporal pleasures.
And there's hope because it's not only it doesn't depend on you in the sense of, if God wants, He has freedom.
Right.
And so I'm worried about a couple of people in my life, friends and family, but I can only do what I can do. And like you think of St. Paul, God wanted him at a specific moment and bam, he got him, And so it's, we want things, God will choose to use some of us in some ways sometimes, but it's just, you just got to have that patience until then.
Yep, absolutely. But yeah, the best thing that I ever did in my life, obviously I love my wife and my family and stuff like that, but becoming Catholic and like turning my life to God completely changed my entire worldview of everything. It completely shifted my life, and now I view everything through the lens of Catholicism. If I think of something and it goes against Catholic faith, I try to change my viewpoint, and I don't understand how people don't do that, like my politics led me to my faith, and my faith then radicalized my politics, and people get red pilled on certain things and like they just stay there. They don't go any further. They have no nuance, like we were talking about before, and without God, there is no structure. There is no real objective argument to be made for your viewpoint, because you're just arguing what your subjective idea of morality is based on nothing.
That's the one thing that Wignats can't even accept. A lot of them that I've seen are very hateful people, and they're filled with like burning hate,
right,
like worse than me. And it's like, that's not a healthy life to live.
Yeah.
Like it really isn't healthy. It's literally so depressing how they act online. It's like, do you guys act like this in real life? Because I'll bet you they don't. I'll bet you they act totally different in real life, like severely.
Yeah.
And
The
I don't
sole
understand.
reason
And
Wignats exist is because they hate Nick Fuentes. So.
That seems
Mostly.
that seems what it is. Yeah.
And
Very true.
it's not even being a Wignet. They just hate Nick, and that's
Yeah,
it.
that's-
That's their only thing.
and
Well,
it's
what I-
it's like it's. Oh, sorry. Continue.
What I see. Oh shit. My wife wants me to come to bed. Yes. Oh fuck. 2 minutes.
God damn it.
All right, hold on one second. I gotta. What I was gonna say. What I think is that like all these people who like, even if they like Nick Fuentes, once they stop liking Nick Fuentes or whatever, or once Nick doesn't like him anymore, right? Then they turn into like that kid. I don't want to call anybody out, but like the kid Carter and Culture War Criminal and stuff like that. All of these people that were Nick fans now, their whole thing is to like talk bad about him and America First, right? So like, I don't know. I feel like
it's like that villain from Incredibles.
it's not even that they're really Wignats. It's that like they're just, I don't know, they have like a grudge, you know.
They're like that villain from Incredibles.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is true. Like what Nick always says. All right, hold on. I'm trying to think if there's any more questions on here. All right, that's pretty much it. Anybody have any other questions before I leave? Because I gotta go.
Hey, yo, Spexo.
Yo, what up?
Not much. I just wanted to say that, thank you for bringing me back to Christ.
Oh,
It was it was like a long journey. I was like a pretty degenerate when I was back in like in middle school. I was raised in a Catholic family, but I was like, that doesn't matter. It's pretty irrelevant. But when I was in like in a secular like school back in the day, and but when I went to like a Catholic school in high school, that's where like I was like, oh, there's something more than just be a retard. And what really enforced like my my faith in Catholicism is because when I watch your videos, I watch like a lot of stuff, and I even help a lot of my friends to be convert to Catholicism.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I'm happy to hear that. That makes that is like, if I can help one person become Catholic, then I've done something good. That's awesome. So I'm really glad for you.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you that like you found Christ and stuff. And if I contributed to that in any way, that means a lot. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, because I saw like a picture of mine back in middle school, and then I see a picture of me, and I was like, damn, I look better now than I used to be back in middle school. And it's like, it feels like when you come to Christ, you become like a better person, physically and spiritually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Like it says, it radicalizes your whole life. It makes you spiritual, and that changes your attitude. It changes how you view things in life. It makes you want to better yourself in other aspects, whether it's getting healthy or losing weight or anything like that. Like, if you truly come to Christ, it should radicalize your whole entire world.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Now I see every single, either it's a psyop or it's everything satanic.
Yeah. I feel you. Same thing.
Yeah. It's like I can watch movies like except like, oh shit, there's a psyop in this shit.
Mm-hmm. No, that's how when I first got red pilled, like when I was still secular or whatever, like I couldn't enjoy any music or any TV shows or movies because all I saw was like Zionist propaganda and blah blah blah, all this stuff. Like I remember I would watch movies and count the instances of like anti-white propaganda, right? And but then like you realize that like you gotta just avoid stuff to a certain extent, but don't be autistic about it, and try to enjoy things despite their degeneracy and being able to see what it was, what it is. Because if you're with friends or you're with your family or something and you're watching a movie and you're just saying all these like, oh, everything is a Zionist, anti-white, psyop or whatever, it's nobody's gonna want to be around you, So you just gotta chill out and not spurg out. But
that's happened to like a friend of mine that is like, once he got red pill, it's like, dude, I can't watch movies with my family anymore. Everything is retarded. Everything is good. I'm like,
to a lot of people.
Like, dude, like don't spurg out, dude. It's like don't be that guy.
Don't be retarded. But all right, guys, I gotta go. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for this. I'm gonna start doing this more often. I'm gonna start doing streams where I just like talk about some stuff and then bring in people on the Telegram chat. So I think this was cool.
This is epic.
Yeah, I thought this was pretty cool. So I don't know when the next time I'm going to do it is, but I'll definitely do it. Just keep an eye out in my Telegram, and I'll let people know when I'm doing it. So thank you, everybody, and I'll talk to you guys later. See you later.
God
bless.
See ya.
Good night, man.
Build the wall.
Yeah,
Build that wall.
All right. See you guys later.